Hare Krishna. My name is Mahavishnu Das. In 1983-84, the winter of 1983-84, in the Gurukula, Lake Huntington Gurukula in upstate New York, it is 4 o'clock in the morning, just before Mangalarti. And the ashram of which I was a part, we've been woken up by our ashram teacher and we're instructed to get up for Mangalarti. Now, one would think that, students are having a hard time getting out of bed. Quite the contrary, at least in this instance, because it is the heart of winter and hot water is at a premium. So we all know that with 40-odd boys running to get a hot water shower, if you're not there on time, you're going to end up taking a cold shower. So there's a mad rush for all the kids to get up and run to the bathroom, brush their teeth, and there's always a fight in the shower. Kids are jostling back and forth. So you have this battle of Kurukshetra every morning with a bunch of, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. I somehow made my way into the shower. One of my friends, I still remember him to this day, is shouting at me, Vyasadeva, you're hogging all the water. That was my name back then. You're hogging all the water, get out of the shower. No, I just got in the shower, and I'm spitting water back at good Lord in heaven. And screaming, other kids are fighting, trying to get into the shower. Then, silence. All the fights that were going on, screaming and yelling, silence. Even my friend who was shouting at me, silent. I'm the only one screaming and shouting, ah! This white hand holding my towel comes in, throws the towel on my face, grabs me by the arm and pulls me out of the shower. I come stumbling out of the shower, wrap myself in the towel. I'm standing up, a dozen kids staring up, eyes wide, mouth hanging open, toothpaste. All of us terrified. I'm looking up, holding this towel with one hand, dripping wet, staring at the furious visage of Jagadish Maharaj. Jagadish Maharaj was, at the time, he was ISKCON's Minister of Education, and he would go around to all the various Gurukulas checking up on things. What we didn't know was that he had come the night before, late the night before he had arrived, and he was sleeping in the room adjacent to the bathroom. So he's now standing in front of me, looking down on me, just woken up. His shika is plastered up the side of his head. I'm terrified, thinking I'm about to die because Lord Nrsingadev has appeared before me in the bathroom in upstate New York in the Lake Huntington Gurukula. Anyway, later on that evening, he would spend time in each of the ashrams. So we came to our ashram, and we were getting ready for bed. And we were sitting all around. It was like, in our ashram, there was about 9 or 10 of us. And what I remember, I don't remember what he said or what we said to him. He was just talking to us when we were sharing our day with him. But what I remember, or at least what was impressed upon me, was his attentiveness. He was focused in on us, and for that moment, or that span of time, there was nothing else in the world except for me, the friends in my ashram, and Jagadish Maharaj. And that was made such an impression upon me, and this is why I remember that, is because it was at that moment I remember just looking at him, listening to him listen to us, and watch him listen to us, that I decided then and there I was going to be a Gurukul teacher. That's when it happened. I wanted to be like Jagadish Maharaj. I wanted to make Gurukula successful. That's what I wanted my service to be. Anyways, fast forward, Vrindavan, Mayapur, Gurukula, always nurturing this desire. It was time for it, was matured, decided I wanted to, ready to pursue initiation. And the Gurukul authority at the time asked, Vyasadeva, why do you want to get initiated? And from whom do you want to get initiated? Without hesitation, Jagadish Maharaj. And I explained to him why I want to be, he already knew, this particular Gurukul authority, that I wanted to be a Gurukul teacher. I wanted that particular service. I was initiated by Jagadish Maharaj by miraculously, I somehow squeaked by and qualified to get initiated, first and second, by Jagadish Maharaj, and then went through the teacher training program by Burijan Prabhu from the Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education back then. Yeah, back then it was the Vrindavan Institute. Now it's the Vaisnava Institute, I believe. Anyways, then went on, became a prefect, and so on and so forth. Many years later, graduated Gurukula, came back to the States for a while, then went back to Mayapur. Was able to serve again as an ashram teacher in the Gurukula. And when Mayapur was going through one of its transition periods, I was tasked with serving as an interim principal for a short period of time while the new principal was selected and brought in. Then after that, Harikesh Maharaj, he asked me, he says, well, Mahavishnu, the new principal is here. Are you going to stay and serve as a teacher? At the time, Harikesh had now become one of the co-directors of Mayapur. I said, well, yeah, Maharaj, I would love to stay. And at this time, Jagadish Maharaj had completed had decided to involve himself in other activities. And I was looking for inspiration from a guru figure. And Harikesh, for me, was a natural progression because he was also interested in education and in particular at that time establishing a Varnashram Academy. So I said, Maharaj, I would love to work and serve in your Varnashram Academy. So I said, very well. He gave me a budget. The Varnashram Academy, the Mayapur Varnashram Academy, was a department of the Mayapur Gurukula. The Mayapur Gurukula was that time being run by Mother Achitambara, who in my own opinion is the greatest Gurukul teacher on the face of the planet, in my own opinion. She was running the Gurukula, and the Varnashram Academy was a department of the Gurukula to take care of the teenage boys, to give them a vocational training, and to take care of their ashram needs as well. So I was responsible for that sub-department of the Mayapur Gurukula. Teenage boys, their vocational training, setting that up, and their ashram activities. Mother Rachitambra made sure they had their academics taken care of, and she took care of the other Gurukul proper. I served in that capacity until Harikesh Maharaj decided to do other things. Moved to Europe, served there for a time, moved back to the United States, was given the service for a time as the Boston Temple president, but that wasn't the place to have a Gurukula. The Boston Temple was not suitable for that. So my desire to open a Gurukula was still unfulfilled. I should say, however, Mother Shama Mohini opened up a wonderful Sunday school, one of the best Sunday schools I've ever been a part of, in the Boston Temple. And she allowed me to come and teach classes occasionally there. But the Boston Temple was not suited for a Gurukula. Once I completed my service to the Boston Temple, my wife and I, we opened up a small preaching center just north of Boston. Small, but still unsuitable for children, unsuitable for a Gurukula. So we moved it to central Massachusetts, got a little storefront area. Still unsuitable for Gurukula, but the idea was, okay, we'll get it started and grow from there. And then sure enough, Krishna dropped the facility in my lap, not too far away from where we were in that little storefront area. Wonderful, huge space, lots of sunlight, clean, safe for children, still not entirely suitable for children considering other concerns, but much, much better. Easily suitable enough for having classes occasionally 2 or 3 times a week. So with great help from the local Indian community, we set up a temple there, which is thriving to this day, and I was able to establish a Gurukula. It was April 15th, 2017. I printed my first flyer. The flyer was not for students, it was for teachers. Help! Volunteers needed to help establish a Gurukula here at the Gurukula Mandir. It was called the Radha Krishna Gurukul Mandir at the time. And got a few volunteers, got some students, and then 3 weeks later, we opened the Gurukula. It was on Akshay Tritiya. Akshay Tritiya of 2017. May 3rd is the Akshay Tritiya coming up this year. On that date, it will have been 5 years since the birth of the MVI Gurukula. Anyway, so the Gurukula had 10 students, and we were running along until COVID hit. And the world changed. So immediately, overnight, my wife and I, we had to figure out how to put the Gurukula online because everyone's inside now. And it was just for the local students of the Gurukula here in Massachusetts. So we figured out how to put it online and began to take care of, teaching the local students. Then a friend of mine heard that I had a Gurukula and I put it online. He says, well, there might be some kids I can see if they're interested in joining. Are you interested in taking kids outside of Massachusetts? It's online, why not? I don't know what she did, but in less than a week, and I kid you not, in less than a week, we had 80 students in the Gurukula. Me and my wife were floored. Overjoyed, of course, but really we had no idea. First of all, we're just learning how to do such a thing. I mean, of course, I had been running for a time my own web design business. So I'm dealing with technology is not the difficult part. It's running a school online. The technology was there, but even then, just 2 years ago, the technology for running a school online was infantile. It's much better 2 years on, but even then, people were just, the technology was just really coming online, so to speak. It was a crash course for me and my wife. We worked tirelessly for about an entire weekend, and of course, a weekend doesn't sound like a lot, but it was all-nighters for 3 days to set this up, a program to accommodate these 80 students we now had across the United States. We got it up and running for the following Monday, and off we went with the Gurukula. Now, we all know, in the beginning of the pandemic, we all thought it was temporary, right? We thought it was going to last weeks, maybe a few months. So the system my wife and I built, the online structures, the curriculum structure, everything was built for it to be temporary, a few months at best. I'd shut it down. These kids would go back to whatever they were doing, wherever they were in their local communities, and I would go back to teaching my 8 students I had in the Gurukul Mandir here in Northborough, Massachusetts. That was the idea. 1 month, 2 months, and I've got 80 students here, and I'm struggling to keep this going. Realizing that this pandemic is longer than just a few months. So my wife and I realized we're going to have to do something here. But with that realization, we're figuring out how to, redo this entire structure. Krishna revealed to us that actually there is something happening here. We are reaching students across all 4 time zones of the United States at that time. And the curriculum, which was small for the few students I had here live in Massachusetts in the temple, but actually the online potential allowed me to expand the curriculum far beyond what I was teaching in these little classes here in Massachusetts. So the curriculum is naturally expanding. And we're sitting here thinking, rather than just waiting to shut this down, let it loose. Restructure it so that we can actually support an online Gurukul. And then that just everything changed. We had to really research learning management systems, softwares, buy a new computer, the learning curve was it was a sheer cliff, the learning curve. It still is. Then we realized We redid the structure. So we tore down the structure, rebuilt it from scratch. We recognize we have now a set curriculum. You can go online to MVIGurukula.com, see a full curriculum. It's still being fleshed out. We're up to level 7, but we have a full curriculum starting at 8 years old up until 16. Students can graduate, finish, get their Bhakti Shastri, and then have 2 years to prepare for college. Everything was all structured, but the problem was it was still too much for just me and my wife to manage. So I closed it. I closed down Gurukula and allow attrition to dwindle the numbers of our student body to where now it's down to about 30. And we actually only recently reopened the Gurukula, just this past winter, reopened the Gurukula and started re-enrolling students to where it's now down to about 30 enrolled students. But we had to bring it down because it was too much. Now, even while we were allowing for the numbers to dwindle, we were expanding what we were offering to the point where now we have the Gurukul is in 3 continents. We have a Gurukul in the United States, in the UK, and in India. We have a student in Lebanon. We have a student in Kenya. So the Gurukula is worldwide. I have 4 teachers teaching Gurukul classes around the world. Now, we're still at a point where there are things seeping through the cracks. We have a program where the students are supposed to give a lecture. They record a lecture, an audio lecture, they send it in, and it's graded. I have a backlog of these audio lectures of these students going back to February. We have a cooking course where students have to, at home, complete a cooking assignment, cook a preparation, then write a report on it. I have reports, a backlog of reports to grade going back to February. We have, and the Gurukul classes take place every single day, 6 days a week. The Saturday, it's just I say just, but it's the Mahabharata class, it's a story class. But 5 days a week for an hour each day, the kids come online and they go through the curriculum. These classes are going on. Every month, we have a sadhana program. Children they're supposed to chant japa every day. According to their age, they're to read Bhagavad Gita every day. They have practice yoga every day, the part that the parents love. Chores they have to do. They have a full sadhana program, which they then have to come on Monday and report to me every single Monday how they're doing. Are they chanting their japa? Are they doing their reading? We have a full Gurukula program online. It's never going to be what a real live Gurukul is. Of course not. But in as much as it can be so online, we have a wonderful program. Now, we've just come past April, right, here in the United States, tax season. We've just closed out the 2021 fiscal year tax season. And while everything in the Gurukula is now set up we can replicate it anywhere in the world as long as we have teachers and such. The structure is there, the curriculum is there, what's supposed to happen is there, but the bottleneck is the price. The numbers to sustainably run the Gurukula, it's $150 per month per student would be the tuition for the Gurukula to be financially stable. That's too much. For me to run the Gurukula at $150 per month per student, the student body would shrink. The student body, it would simply be a few students here and there, a handful of students who can afford that tuition. I mean, my wife and I, we work full time, so we subsidize. Parents are generous as they can be in supporting the Gurukula. But the Gurukula needs, and as we just closed out this last fiscal year, $50,000 for the next fiscal year to get us through this year and into 2023, April of 2023. So for this fiscal year, this is what this fundraising campaign is for. If we don't reach that goal of $50,000 for the next year's budget, Gurukula is certainly not going to be able to expand. And we're not going to be able to properly even take care of the students we already have in North America, in the UK, and in India. It's simply not going to happen. I need more teachers. I need more support staff, because these children are generating so many cooking reports, sadhana reports, Bhagavad Gita lecture reports. I have a number of teenagers presenting Bhakti Shastri papers. There is so much going on in this Gurukula that in order to get it to meet the needs of these students, I need more staff. I need to expand. I don't want to shrink. I'm not going to shrink. But this is what this fundraising campaign is all about. So there's no tax advantage. We're not tax exempt, so you're not going to get a write-off on taxes. But whatever, considering that you can give for the Gurukula, we have to make this $50,000, we have to meet this mark so that we can maintain the Gurukula, and not only that, I can double the size of the Gurukula with that budget. With that budget, I can bring on new people, I can expand classes with that budget of $50,000 for the next fiscal year. That is what this is going to do for our Gurukula. So please donate as much as you can so that we can meet this mark for the next $50,000 as an annual budget. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. We can do this. I'm creating 2 more videos. I would like you to look at them. The second video I will create, and I will link it here. It's about the Gurukula's 50-state campaign. In 1971, Srila Prabhupada opened the first Gurukula. Last year, 2021, was the 50th anniversary of Gurukula, established by Srila Prabhupada. How many people know that this is the 50th anniversary? I had plans. These plans of preparation, this campaign, was in the works before last year, but COVID delayed everything. But now, this year is going to be that campaign. So please look at the video I'll be uploading about our 50-state campaign. The third video I will upload is about the Gurukul needs in terms of staffing. I need a number, where I have a teacher, I can open a Gurukula. I need more teachers, and I need support staff to help run the Gurukula. Now, at this moment, for this fiscal year, I cannot offer remuneration. So it is volunteer service for the next fiscal year, but the long-term goal is to have at least commiserate remuneration for the teachers of the Gurukula. There's no reason why not. It is a service that does require commitment and taxing, exhausting work, and it is time-consuming. I spend a lot of time online with students, most of my time offline, managing the Gurukula. I need devotees around the world to coordinate these classes. I have, again, Gurukula is in 3 different continents. I cannot coordinate all of these activities around the world by myself. I need help. Please watch that video because I get into a little more detail of what help I need. And please help me reach the goal of $50,000 for the next fiscal year. My wife and I cannot continue, it's unsustainable for my wife and I to subsidize the Gurukula, and the parents are doing all that they can to support the Gurukula as well. But the reality is, it costs $50,000 a year to run this Gurukula, as is, and I can double it. I can have 60 students on that budget. The math is undeniable, but I need to reach that budget, and I can double the size of the Gurukula worldwide, where students can join the Gurukula and their parents are not trying to meet this tuition of $150 a month. Hare Krishna.